And yesterday we taught about the parallel lines cut by a transversal, and today and tomorrow we're going to apply the principles that we learned yesterday in that particular work. So, before we begin doing that, let's talk about today's quiz. And first off, much better than yesterday's. We saw solid improvement by many of you, so that looked really, really good. I think some of you saw the same diagram for number 2 that was number 2 yesterday, and I think you said, oh, I remember this answer. And you said, oh, I'm going to put down choice A, because that was the answer yesterday when 1 and 3 were equal to each other. The problem is I changed the question. Kept the same diagram, changed the question. So we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Now, simplify the expression below. There we go, good. All right, so the first question says 10 to the third times 10 to the 7th. You guys can get your feet down right here. 10 to the third times 10. That's a half a foot down. There we go. Is 10 to the 10th. Because when you're multiplying common bases, you add exponents. And I think just about everybody got that right. Some of you didn't. Maybe 5 or 6 of you, but for the most part you did. Do you guys remember how we do questions like this? 3 times 10 to the 5th times 2 times 10 to the 4th. And we would say the answer is 6 times 10 to the 9th. Multiply coefficients, add exponents. Well, this is just the add exponents part of the problem. So I add 3 and 7 and I get 10. Okay, next up, this diagram from yesterday. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it says, yesterday the problem said which two angles are equal or congruent. And everybody correctly said 1 and 3, or well, the ones who got it right, correctly said 1 and 3. So today I'm saying to you the same exact diagram, and I think you looked at it and went, oh man, I know this. The ones that are equal are 1 and 3. We did that yesterday. But look at the last sentence. I changed it. I didn't say which two angles are congruent. What does it say? Which two angles are what? Complementary. What does complementary mean?
2 angles out of
90.
90.
Supplementary is 180. Let me give you guys a little bit of a trick that'll help you out to remember which is which. Ready? Very important. Do you know how the letter C comes before the letter S in the alphabet?
Yes.
And you know how 90 comes before 180 in numbers?
Yes.
So complementary means adds up to 90 and supplementary means adds up to 180. Okay? So that'll help you remember which one is which. Now, we talked about 90-degree angles yesterday and right angles and complementary. And we said that whenever you see like a corner, like on this Eno board, or the tiles up top, or the door frame, those are 90-degree angles. So in this diagram, I can see two 90-degree angles. I can see this one, and I can see this one. Now where angle 4 is, there's not two angles adding up to 90 degrees. So that's not a complementary situation. That is a single, lone right angle. But 1 and 5 together make a right angle. Angles 1 and angle 5. So therefore, those two are two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So I'm looking for 1 and 5, which is choice B of the quiz. Okay? Next one. Diagram below, what's the measure of x? Now, for this quiz's purposes, the big thing that we do is we emphasize vertical angles, which are the angles that are across from each other, like these. And we also emphasize angles that are next to each other, like these. Two angles that are next to each other that make a straight line. What do we know about the measures of those angles? Guys, don't go looking down, don't go doing homework. Pay attention. What do I know about the measures of these two angles? Rach?
They're equal to 180.
That's right, they equal to 180. Look at what I drew here. I drew a half a circle. If I drew the other half of the circle, how many degrees in a whole circle? 360. So this darkened, non-dotted top part has to be half of 360, which is 180 degrees. So therefore, if I do 180 minus 75, I come up with 105, and that's the measure of angle x. And the last diagram looked like this, and it said that this is 43 degrees and this is n. what's the value of n? Everybody, come on. Rachel Whitney, what's the value of n?
I put 43.
43 is right, because when it says to explain, you say they're vertical angles. Because vertical angles are congruent, okay? Any questions?
What was 2 again?
I'm sorry?
What was 2 again?
Number 2 was choice B, angle 1 and angle 5. Okay? All right, so tomorrow you'll get the last in this series of quizzes. And pay a lot of attention to the wording. Am I saying, are they complementary, supplementary, or congruent? Congruent means the two angles are? Congruent means the two angles are equal. Good. Complementary means the two angles add up to 90. Supplementary means the two angles
180.
add up to 180. Good. Okay. Which diagram gives you 90 degrees? An L or a straight line? An L. Good. The straight line cut at an angle is going to be 180. So now we get into the topic that we started yesterday. Two parallel lines cut by a transversal. And it says find the value of x in the diagrams. You know, I was just talking to Mr. Duran about years ago, we used to have this program. You know how with these knees down, turn body. You know how they have all of this testing stuff that drives you crazy? Right? How many people are opting out of the test?
Me.
Put your hands up, please, so I can just see. I just want to get an idea where we're at. How many people are taking the test? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in class are taking that test. Okay, so that means in a class of 21 people, 16 people think that the test is just insane. And my personal opinion is that the test is insane for a few reasons, but my biggest complaint, by far, is if this test is truly about improving you as a student, please stop writing. If it's truly about improving you as a student, you should get feedback from the test. Do you know that if I take the questions on the test and talk about them publicly, I can be fired? I'm 100% serious. So if I see Ethan and I look at his paper and I see that he's getting a question wrong, and I want to pull him aside after the test, not during the test. You know, take the test without my help. But afterwards, I want to pull him aside and say, Ethan, man, I saw these 2 questions you were doing. Remember, these were the questions, and this is what you did, and this is what you did wrong, so let's not make that mistake anymore. I'm fired. And the purpose of these tests should be to say to you, hey, Ethan, this is a kind of question you need to get better at. So let's work on it. Now, years ago, before we went nuts with these Common Core tests, we used to still get state tests, but we had this website called datamentor.org. It was the greatest website. I would click on datamentor.org, and the charts would come up. And there would be a picture of a graph. And on the bottom, it would say question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, all the way up to the last question on the test. And then over here, on the left side, it would say the percent of my students who got the question right. And then on it, there were 4 lines, 3 or 4. The first line was maybe in red, and those were the percentage of kids in my classes that got the questions right. The next one was the percentage of kids in the Patchogue Medford School District that got it right. That would be, say, a blue line. Then there would be a green line that said the percent of questions of everybody in everybody in Suffolk County that got it right. And then there would be, say, a black line for everybody in New York State who got it right. Now, I would just look at that chart, and every time my line was higher than everybody else's, I knew I was doing something right. And if I looked at that chart and I saw my line was way down by the bottom and another person's line was way at the top, that said to me that there's a teacher who's teaching the same material who can get the kids to get it right, and I'm getting it wrong. I need to know what they're doing that I'm not doing, so that I could become a better teacher and help my kids get better grades on the test. And after a couple of years of doing that with a handful of questions, I noticed that the kinds of questions that the kids struggled with, and there weren't a lot of them, but the few on every test that they struggled with were the same topics every year. So then I could go talk to the people I taught about, because back then I was allowed to talk about the questions in public. In fact, they released the tests so the kids could look at their own test and see how they did. And I could go through and say, hey, how'd you do so well on it? Well, I didn't do, your kids did so much better than mine. How do I help my kids? And it helped kids get better. So when testing is used like that, I think testing can be a really good thing. When testing is used for other purposes, whatever those other purposes might be, I think testing can be a very dangerous thing. Now, this taught me so much. I used to look at this question and say to myself, it's really, really easy. Now check it out. I'm going to change this question slightly for just a second. And you've seen this stuff for about a day or two. Remember I did the whole thing yesterday where we slid it down and we had the stars and the green dots? I used to think, man, that's all a kid ever needs to be able to get this right. And let me show you what I learned that I did bad as a teacher. Let's say that this is a 50-degree angle. How big is that angle? Everybody? 50 degrees, right? Okay, how big is this angle? 50 degrees. And then I would say, oh, that's so easy. Everybody's got to get that right. And then I was getting my results back, and they're not getting it right. And I'm going, get the heck out of here. I have this PowerPoint, I slide the things together, I show the little stars, I show the green dots. They know that those two things are 50. Don't tell me they don't know. I give them a quiz. Everybody knows that. I do that with them every day. And then do you know what I noticed? Because there would be some of them like this with a bunch of letters on it. And then there would be some questions with no letters where they would write the 50 in. And every time they wrote the 50 in and they put the X over here, every kid in my class got it right. And every time that they didn't put the 50 in and instead they did this, if the measure of angle ABF is, find the measure of angle BFG. And you know what I said to myself? I said, Lindquist, you idiot. They don't know what this means. So the next year, I took the time to teach what that means, and everybody got it right. So it was a really good thing about the test. Something excellent came back about it now. Do you think that they show me how you guys do on your tests anymore? No. They shut down the website, and they will not let me know how you did on your test. All they'll do is show me your score at the end. They will not show me the questions. They will not show me what you got wrong. So it makes it very difficult for me to help you. So they need to straighten that out. And if they do straighten that out, then the testing becomes a much more beneficial thing. All right, so ready? Here we go. This is how we determine angle ABF. Everybody take your pen. Ready? Take your pen, put it on the line under the A. Now, we're going to draw until we hit B, and it always involves a point of intersection here until we hit B. Do not pick your pen up. Now go down until you hit F. That is angle ABF. So now, put in a 4x minus 11. And if you didn't know that, it's not your fault, it's mine. But now we're teaching you how to do it. So now let's do BFG. What do you think the first thing I have to do is? Put the pen on B. Then what do I do? Go to F, and then go where? G. And then write in 2x plus 25. So now I know how to mark the diagrams. So what I'm dealing with is this angle here and this angle here. So now my question to you is this. Are those two angles the same or are they supplementary? Think about the stars yesterday, right? They are the same, good. You could do like a little translation here. Remember we talked about translations a couple days ago? We could slide this top set of angles up. You ever do like copy and paste or cut and paste on the computer?
Yes, sir.
I could do copy and paste here. I could copy this all up, paste it right here. Wouldn't the 2x plus 25 land right here?
Yeah.
Right? And then doesn't that make these two angles vertical? You with me on that?
Yes.
And didn't we just do a quiz question where both vertical angles were 43? So what do you know about vertical angles? They're always what? They're always the same. So I can now go over here and write 4x minus 11 equals 2x plus 25, and I can solve the equation. So, opposite side, opposite operation. 2x minus 11 is 25. Add 11, die. 2x is 36. Divide by 2. X is 18. So the first part of this question said, find x. X is 18. Chris, head up. Next part says, find the measure of angle ABF. Well, what does 4x mean? ¿Qué es una operación? Multiplication. Good. I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to do 4 times 18, which is 72, minus 11 is 61. So this angle here is 61. Now they want HFG. Put my pen on H, go to F, go to G. They want this angle. Is this angle in black that I just drew, is that equal to the 61 or is that supplementary to the 61? Supplementary, very good. I could do like cut and paste again. I could drop it down and the 61 is going to land over here. So together, these guys make a half a circle or straight line, whatever you want to call it. And then I can do 180 minus 61 is equal to 119. And that's my answer. So for many, many years, I taught this, and I thought that my kids should be awesome at it. And what I learned is they were really, well, I forgot those things slide up. They were really, really awesome when I wrote the numbers or the expressions in the diagram. But if I didn't write them in the diagram, they needed to learn how to do that in order to get it right. So I had to learn one of my weaknesses as a teacher, and now I know how to do it, so I'm able to help you a whole lot more. And that's the good point of testing. So if any of your parents are saying to you, I want you to take the test, then that would be great. But the problem with the test is that we never see what you get wrong. I can never talk to you about what you got wrong. And I can't even use it to help my teaching for the next group of kids that come in. So it's a very frustrating situation if you're a teacher. I was so happy that I learned one of my weaknesses. I would like to continue to learn my weaknesses. Yes?
Why do they make us take the test?
Why do they make you take the test? There's a bunch of reasons, and the recorder is on, and I could get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's the truth. First off, there are people who make money from these tests. Absolutely, they make a whole lot of money. There are actually videos of
Savage.
people on YouTube who are talking, who are from the test company being secretly recorded. They don't even know that they're being recorded. And they talk about the fact that it's all about money. It's not about you. And the second thing is that they do want to find out, according to them, if teachers are doing a good job or not. And the difficulty is, as I just went through a minute ago, whether I'm doing a good job or not, I want to improve and I want to get better. But if you won't tell me where the kids are having a hard time, how can I know how to get better?
But I thought that was, they didn't do that anymore, it wasn't about the.
They just stopped this year for the next 4 years. But up until this year, it has been all about grading the teachers. But for the next 4 years, it won't be. So hopefully they'll come up with a data mentor type site. If they do that, that's a really good thing. And if they took the pressure off the tests, and the tests had nothing to do except to see what you had learned. If they said, don't study for them, don't do anything for them, just take the test, we'll do it over 2 days, let's just see how you do, let's see what you're learning, and then they took all of your answers and they showed them to all of your teachers and they said to the teachers, look, here's your kids, here's what they're getting right, here's what you're getting wrong. What are you going to do to help your kids get better? That's good. They don't do that. And until they do, it's not gonna be good. Okay, on your paper, I want you to mark angle, this is what we got right here, angle NYJ, I'm sorry. Angle NYJ. Come on, Rach, let's get that pen out and draw that angle. Ethan, head me game. Ready? Angle N to Y to J, and now I want you to show, oh, it says here angle NYJ is 7n minus 20, so I'm going to write 7n minus 20 there. And now I want you to, on your paper, mark angle FYB. Go ahead. There we go, I'm marking the diagram. Did you mark that on your paper? I have it in green. Did you get that same exact mark?
Yeah.
Good. And what do I put in that angle's place?
3n plus 12.
3n plus 12, very good. Now, talk to me. What do you know about those two angles? They're the same, very good, they're equal. So now go off on the side And let's write this out, 7n minus 20 equals 3n plus 12, because like Ethan just said, they're the same, they're equal to each other. Solve it, go ahead. While you're doing this, it is phenomenally important when you put your calculators back that you put them in the right place, right? Remember that every day. I'm sorry? It's not 4n. Oh, that's n equals 8, okay. Yeah, that looks like, oh, yeah, that's possible. Okay, ready? Same side, opposite side. What do we got? Opposite side, opposite operation, minus 3n. Die, 4n minus 20 equals 12. Add 20 to both sides. And I get 4n equals 32. Divide by 4. What does n equal? 8. What does the question ask you to do?
Fine.
Find the measure of the angle. So 8's not the answer. I need to come in here and dump an 8 in or substitute it in for n. What's 7 times 8?
60.
No, close. 56. 56 minus 20 is 36. Okay? Now, another thing that I learned about what I need to be better at as a teacher from datamentor.org. It really was a wonderful site. And back then, the testing program was so much better because we really did learn how to become a better teacher. They would give kids questions like this. This is even harder on a kid because guess what's missing? The diagram, right? So now the kid's like, what the heck? So watch what we do. I draw a line, I draw another line because it says AB intersects CD at E. So this is going to be AB. What do you suppose the other one is? CD. And where do they meet? In the middle at E. Now let's trace with our pen. A to E to C. 4n minus 1. B to E to D. N plus 26. So it's the same question, but now you have to learn how to draw it if they don't give it to you. So that's the next step up in the skill department. Go ahead, tell me what n equals. Did you get n equals 9? Well, the first part says find n, so n is 9. Then it says AEC. That's this guy. How do I find that angle? Plugging it in. Good. What's 4 times 9? Minus 1. Now it wants AEB. AE. Oh, that's a straight line. How many degrees in a straight line? 180. Good. Okay. One more shot here. Two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Ready? I'm going to put 70 degrees here. You figure out all the other angles. Oh no, there's a 38 there. I take it back. Ready? There's a 38 there. Find all the other angles up there. Go ahead, fill them in. Just turn the page. No, put a 38 on your paper. Cross the other stuff out. Put a 38. What's this, everybody, right here? 38. What's this? 38, right? Because I can do copy and paste, so I can drag it up. They're all acute. What about this guy up here? 38. What's this one over here? 142. Very good. What about this one? Right, because they're vertical. What about this guy down here? 142, and this guy here. 142. Okay, another day of this tomorrow, where we'll continue to work on the two parallel lines cut by transversal, the vertical angles, and everything else. Good work today, folks. Yeah.